Thanks to the EA Game Changers program for providing me a free copy of this pack, and of course, my opinions are my own. Alright, let's head on our journey to Batuu. I wonder how epic this journey is going to be. Maybe the Millennium Falcon's going to pick me up. Maybe it'll be a TIE fighter. Maybe I'll get to fly a TIE fighter. Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. I mean, there's just so many cool ways that they could do this. Oh. It's just the plain old loading screen and map view. Well, you know what they say. It's the destination, not the journey. That's how it goes, right? Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, and today I'm giving my first impressions of the Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batuu game pack, which is quite a name, and I've definitely seen some interesting alternate titles from different simmers, like But Why? And Batuu! And Journey to Mediocrity, and Journey to Crates, and the one that I like to use, Journey to Rabbit Holes, so we'll get into that part later. So, yeah, it's been quite a ride ever since this pack initially leaked with the icon, and ever since that leak, I have given it a lot of thought as to how a Star Wars pack for The Sims 4 could turn out. I came to the conclusion that unless it were a theme park pack that also happened to have some Star Wars content, it would be terrible. And, well, that's not how it turned out. Even with my expectations so low, I was still underwhelmed as both a Sims fan and a Star Wars fan. And seeing how the reveal trailer has well over 100,000 dislikes, I'm far from the only one who feels this way. Leave it to the combined anger of the Sims and the Star Wars fan bases to hit that mark for what I'm pretty sure is the first time ever in the history of The Sims. This has to be one of the worst packs ever released. Journey to Batuu is the 9th game pack for The Sims 4, and it allows your Sims to visit the Star Wars universe in the gap between The Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker movies of the recent sequel trilogy. The Resistance has fled to the planet of Batuu, and the First Order has followed them there, and there's also the Scoundrels, who are more than willing to profit off both sides of the conflict. Which faction your Sims will align themselves with is up to you, and there's slightly different rewards for each. Some of the Create Sim items, in my opinion, are surprisingly versatile. I feel some of them could be used outside Batuu, especially as cold weather wear, and not look out of place. But then there's the masks that are used to make your Sims appear to be a certain race from Star Wars. Some of them, like the Twi'leks, are okay and cover the whole body, but then some of them, like the Weequay, only change the face and the arms. The rest of the body is just a normal human skin tone, which I find pretty embarrassing, and it creeps me out. We're restricted from our Sims having romantic relationships with Rey and Kylo Ren, probably due to Disney not allowing it, yet they're okay with these half-baked masks? There's no new traits, but there are 2 new aspirations. Sadly, these continue the trend of being glorified tutorials, with one making you choose between the Resistance or the First Order as you progress, and the other being more neutral as a privateer hanging out with smugglers like Hondo from the Clone Wars. Considering how this game pack turned out, I'm shocked that children and toddlers even got any items at all. On the other hand, it is a little surprising that we only got straight hair in this pack, because they usually tend to include at least 1 or 2 non-straight hairs every pack. The build and buy objects are probably the best thing about Journey to Batuu. While many objects are tailored towards sci-fi settings, they can be handy for machinima makers. The grungy bar objects I can imagine fitting well in any kind of rundown setting. The new wallpaper and flooring look great and make sense in many places. But why are there so many crates though? Are crates becoming the new chairs? But above all else, there's porg plushies. Best object in the whole pack. But if you're looking for new lots to build on, you have a couple of obstacles in your way. Unlike other maps, you can't just build there. You need to make a sim travel to the Batu lot you want to edit, then put in the bb.enable free build cheat while you're in that district. Now you can edit it, but good luck having it fit in with its surroundings. I imagine these restrictions were also from this Disney deal. I'll admit that visually they did a great job making Batu genuinely look like the Star Wars universe is part of The Sims. It definitely has its own style, complete with many new buildings and its own wildlife. The audio might be the most immersive I've ever heard in The Sims 4 besides Seasons. It's to the point I felt I needed to make a separate environmental ASMR video to do it justice. It's unquestionably Star Wars. The gameplay is where this pack easily falls apart the most. Some of the missions I did involve breaking into the First Order's base, either to steal something from a crate or hack into their cargo bay. I also had to hack a nearby communications tower. I found it very inconsistent as to whether my sim got caught or not doing those things. Multiple stormtroopers and First Order officers could walk by as my sim is doing their thing and not care at all. Or one could be kinda nearby and they'd spot my sim and confront them. Oh, and when my sims get arrested, they go into a rabbit hole, even though there's interrogation animations they could have reused from Get to Work. The only way I could change this was to have a droid use a distract protocol and make my sim quickly run in to do their task. Then that almost guarantees that my sim won't get caught. It's times like these that really made me feel like this could have been pulled off much better if this was a spin-off like Sims Medieval was. Maybe we could have had a more genuine stealth mechanic. That'd be a lot more fun. Also, almost every other thing I did on Batu led me either through a loading screen or going into a rabbit hole. Even with the spaceships, although they look pretty cool taking off, your sims still teleport into them, and the base camp where your sims can take care of their needs is also a rabbit hole, which is pretty frustrating considering in previous packs, like in Jungle Adventure and Outdoor Retreat, and even World Adventures in The Sims 3, you did not need to go into a rabbit hole to do that. They were actually playable areas. The only playable lots are the one for each district that I mentioned earlier you can edit with cheats. There's so little actual gameplay here. When I first started out, there's literally only 2 ways to restore your fun motive. Both of them are at the cantina, dancing to DJ Rex's music, and playing sabacc. The latter works similarly to the card table from the base game that I keep forgetting exists, except there's an actual gambling mechanic. I'm shocked! I can't believe a Star Wars pack is how we got gambling in The Sims 4. It's easier to build up fun once you have a droid and a lightsaber, but fun was initially the motive I had the most trouble with. Thankfully, none of the Star Wars Creative Sim assets are supposed to appear on townies back home, and you do have a new Batu exclusive outfit that you can edit once you land there, instead of instantly looking out of place. Something I was not expecting is that occult powers do not work on Batu. I took my vampire Sleet to Batu, and while he couldn't fly around as a bat, he also did not burn under the planet's 3 suns. I guess this mechanic is mainly so you don't need to worry about dying as much depending on which occult you're playing as. I still find this an odd decision though, especially for spellcasters, since magic does exist in the Star Wars universe, such as the Night Sisters for example. So if I wanted to have a tougher version of this, then why not go as a vampire and still have the ability to burn underneath the sun and just make sure you only go out at night and that sort of thing. Speaking of powers, there shockingly aren't any new ones. Our Sims can have lightsaber duels, which admittedly are pretty fun to watch, especially in first-person mode. But lightsabers and the Force go hand in hand. You might see Rey use a mind trick or Kylo Ren using Force stasis, but it's only made for those NPCs. A skill tree for Force powers would have made so much sense, but it's nowhere to be seen here. Absolutely ridiculous! If I had been in charge of making this pack, the first thing I would have done is get force powers in there alongside a force sensitive trait. This pack disappointed me on multiple levels. As a Sims fan, this pack feels very unfinished and an obvious cash grab for EA's Star Wars video game license and advertisement for Disney's Galaxy's Edge. As a Star Wars fan, the Star Wars universe is vast and spans 3 trilogies, and that's only talking about the movies. This pack only represents a little slice of the controversial sequel trilogy. I'm happy they got Hondo as the scoundrel rep since he is from the Clone Wars, which is during the prequel trilogy that I grew up with, but he's only in this game pack because he happens to be a part of the theme park too. And not having our Sims able to use the Force is a bizarrely huge missed opportunity. All in all, I don't think this pack should have been made, and I don't think anyone should buy it. Instead, I recommend buying an actual Star Wars game like Jedi Academy or Jedi Fallen Order that give you a much better Star Wars experience in my opinion. If it were a separate game made by a different team without taking any time away from developing The Sims 4, then fair enough. But knowing we got this instead of something like Parenthood that improves the core gameplay is so discouraging. Not to mention, this is the 3rd game pack in a row that's fantasy based. Plus, on that roadmap from earlier this year, they said this game pack would be a major first, when that's only somewhat true. We've had Star Wars costumes for free for years now. I guess the major first is just implanting a different fictional universe into The Sims. The 10th expansion pack for this game will be announced in the next few weeks, and it better be something many of us are actually asking for. Otherwise, I'm going to lose hope that we'll be getting any of the current popular requests, aside from better skin tones, which are already promised. This game's been out for 6 years. It should be in a much better state than it is right now. Sure, The Sims 3 took quite a lot of time for some fan favorites to return, but now The Sims 4 has outlived The Sims 3's whole life cycle and is still missing a lot of features that it has. Hopefully now their desire to do all of this experimental stuff is out of their system for a good while, and they'll start paying more attention to what the fans want, because this community is getting very angry, and rightfully so. 2020 marked the 20th year of the Sims franchise, so it should have been a year dedicated to answering the fans' requests. But there hasn't really been all that much of that this year, and I think most people would tell you that this year has been a horrible one for The Sims. I wouldn't entirely agree with that sentiment. I thought Tiny Living and Nifty Knitting were pretty good, and the idea behind Eco Lifestyle was interesting, but it's way too buggy. So it just is like a very mixed bag for me at best. So a lot is riding on what this final pack of the year is gonna be. But overall, despite me being a huge Star Wars fan, I think this is easily one of the worst packs for The Sims 4. I'd still put it above Luxury Party stuff and My First Pet stuff because at least there is a bit more going for this pack, especially since it is a game pack, but not by much. And it is mostly because they nailed the visuals and the sounds and the build items and some of the Create a Sim items. And also, Lightsaber Duels, that's pretty cool. Although there's no Lightsaber Duel club rule, I checked, and that's odd. I would have at least used this pack outside of Batu for like a Star Wars nerd club and have them do Lightsaber Duels, but no, can't even do that, and that's the most practical use I can think of for the gameplay outside of just doing the quests on Batu. So overall, I would definitely pass up on this game pack. If you want a really good adventure pack for The Sims 4, then I highly recommend just getting Jungle Adventure if you don't already have it. And hopefully you enjoyed this review more than I did making it, because I did not have much fun with this pack at all, and it felt like a massive pain just to get this video done. But thankfully now it is done, and I can start getting back to my more regular content. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below what you think of The Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batu, and be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Paralive, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!